This video is all about solving simple absolute value equations. Make sure you are taking notes. So absolute value, first off, the symbol for that are two bars like this. So if I asked for the absolute value of 6, I would write it like that. Let's pick a number. I'm just going to pick -3. Absolute value is the distance from 0 on a number line. So if I'm at -3 and 1, 2, 3 spaces away, so my distance here is 3, I would say that my absolute value of -3 is 3 because it is 3 spaces away. If I ask for the absolute value of +3, it is 1, 2, 3 spaces away from 0 as well, so it is also 3. Notice that I have the same answer for both of them, but the inside one's negative and one's positive. If I gave you an equation that said the absolute value of some number is 4, that question is asking which numbers are 4 spaces away on the number line. So I start here at 0 and I went 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away. I get 4. So I would say x equals 4. Or I could have gone to the left 4 spaces and I get -4. So both of these answers satisfy this equation. When you are solving absolute value equations, the very first thing you must do is isolate the absolute value. So I need just this guy on this side. I need to move my 8 over to the other side. To move him, I do his opposite. So -8 and -8. That leaves me with the absolute value of x equals 2. From there, I'm going to rewrite the equation into 2 equations. One positive and one negative. So my inside here does not change, but I'm going to set it equal to a +2. I'm also going to set it equal to a -2. I will continue to solve if needed. These are both just x equals. And then I'm going to check my answer. When I check my answer, I plug it back in. So when I check this 2, and have the absolute value of 2 plus 8. The absolute value of 2, so if on my number line here's 0, here's 2, it is 1, 2 spaces away. So my absolute value is 2 plus 8 is 10, which is what the problem said. So yes, that one works. I'm going to also check this over here with -2. I'm on a number line, and I'm going to -2. That's 1, 2 spaces away. So my absolute value is 2 plus 8 is 10. Make sure you always check your answers. For example 2, I'm going to start again by trying to get just the absolute value on this left side. So I need to get rid of this 2 here. Since this is dividing by 2, I will multiply both sides by 2. We'll cancel on this side. I'll be left with the absolute value of m plus 6 equals 4. To get rid of the absolute value lines, I have to write 2 equations. So the first one, I'm going to set it equal to this 4. For the second one, since I'm positive, I'm going to set it equal to a -4. Nothing else changes, just that number on the end. Then I can solve each equation. And I get my 2 answers. I need to make sure I check them by plugging them in. On example 3, first thing I need to do is get my absolute value by itself. It already is. I'm then going to split this into 2 equations. So -1 plus k equals 0, and -1 plus k equals -0. There is no such thing as a -0 though, so I don't actually need this equation. I'm only going to get the 1, and that's just because it's the special one that has the 0 there. When I solve this, I add 1 to both sides. I get k equals 1. Again, make sure you're checking your answers. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 0 is 0 spaces away, so the absolute value of 0 is 0. There are some other special cases. Since absolute value represents distance, it cannot be negative. So if I'm looking at my number line and I'm going, let's just say, to 3 and negative 3, that distance in both cases is 3. Neither one is a negative distance. So when I try to set this up, I'm going to have 2x minus 3 equals negative 6, and 2x minus 3 equals positive 6. If I solve this, and this one is 9, and check my answers, when I plug these numbers back in, 2 times a negative 3 halves minus 3, that becomes negative 3 minus 3, which is negative 6, but the absolute value of negative 6 is a positive 6. That is not what I had here. So this answer does not work, because I can at no point have a negative where my absolute value is set equal to. Since I always start by doing the positive and the negative, this guy being negative should have told me, no, don't do that. And if I check my 4 halves, sorry, it's a 9. If I check my 9 halves, then I'm going to have 2 times 9 halves minus 3, all inside my absolute value. That would become 9 minus 3 inside my absolute value, which is 6. The absolute value of 6 is 6, but the problem said negative 6, so that's not the same thing, and he does not work. What this means is my answer is no solution. On this one over here, I'm trying to get the absolute value by itself. So I multiply both sides by that negative 9. I have the absolute value of x minus 6 equals negative 63. As soon as I see that I have an absolute value of something equaling a negative number, I know it is no solution, and I need to stop right there and say no solution.